So let's talk about another one of the many great game shows to be hosted by the legendary game show host Bill Cullen. And it's a game that's got a big board of hexagonal spots with letters. And it's a game of speed and strategy. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Blockbusters. Today on the wide world of game shows. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows! Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Doyle, the Big D to y'all. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, and I'm back again with another episode of the Wide World of Game Shows. This time around, I'm going to tackle a fun game that may have only lasted 2 seasons, and I consider this to be an underrated game show, but I think it's one of my absolute favorites. A game that's filled with layers, and is a game of speed and strategy. So now, without further ado, I bring to you Blockbusters! Blockbusters was a fun-filled game show created by Steve Ryan and was produced by Goodson and Todman, originally premiering on NBC in October of 1980, and hosted by the legendary Bill Cullen, who had just more recently hosted a game for the network earlier that same year, and that was the Bob Stewart-produced Chain Reaction, which ended just a few months before this. Anyway, now, on the program, contestants answer general knowledge questions to complete a path across or down a game board composed of hexagons. Now, originally in the series, a team of 2 family members, aka family pair, competed against a solo player to see whether 2 heads are really better than 1. The show was hosted by the legendary Bill Cullen, again as I mentioned. The announcer was Bob Hilton for most of the run. Johnny Olsen, who was currently doing The Price is Right and Match Game, which was now in syndication, would substitute, as well as Rich Jeffries on some occasions. Jeffries took over for the final 2 weeks of the game, which was in April of 1982, which after 2 seasons it left. Anyway, this game, along with Las Vegas Gambit, hosted by Wink Martindale, premiered on the same day, which was October 27th, 1980, and were added to the NBC schedule to replace the David Letterman show. Yes, which had been up since NBC canceled 3 game shows to create space for this back in June, but it didn't do good, though, and was cut to 60 minutes midway into its run before NBC decided to return to a more traditional morning lineup. 3 contestants play in each game, a solo contestant playing against a team of 2 related contestants that was referred to as the family pair. The solo contestant played behind a red desk, while the family pair played from a white one. The game was played on a board that consisted of 4 interlocking rows of 5 hexagons each. Within each hexagon was a different letter of the alphabet, which represented the first letter of the correct answer to a question. Let me show you. Now this here is what the Blockbusters board looked like. The objective was for the family pair to go from left to right, and the solo player to go from top to bottom. Now the family pair can make it in a few as 5, and the solo player can make it in a few as 4, because there's only one of them, because that was the handicap of the game. And you can see, this looks really incredible, this board does. Now you saw, there are various layers on the board, and you pick what you want to go to, and then a question will be answered. Will be given. The layer represented the first layer of the correct answer to the question. Now, for example, if the layer P was chosen, a sample question might be, what P is a herbivorous North American mammal whose body is covered with thousands of bristles called quills? In which case, the correct answer would be porcupine. Actually, the game's feel and its questions were similar to that of another game that Cullen hosted called Winning Streak, which was produced by Bob Stewart, which I've only seen one episode of because that game's very rare to find. Anyway, contestants attempted to complete a connection of hexagons to win each round. Again, I've already mentioned that. Now, due to the game's board design, there was no way to end a game in a tie. In addition, the two members of the family pair were not allowed to discuss questions at any time. All questions had one-word answers. Now, each game started with a letter chosen at random. The first contestant to buzz in was given a chance to answer. Well, even if they interrupt Cullen. If a contestant did so before Cullen finished, he stopped reading and the contestant had to answer immediately. If a correct answer was awarded, was given the hexagon to that team or solo player allowed them or he or she to choose the next letter. While a miss gave the opposing team a chance to hear the entire question and respond. If the sole contestant missed, only one member of the family pair could attempt to answer. If both teams missed the same question, they go to another question with the same letter. Originally winning the first round earned the team no money, but allowed the winning team to play the bonus round, which was originally called Gold Rush, but I'll get to that in a little bit. A second win allowed the team to return trip to the bonus round for additional $5,000. Later, each round earned the winning team $500, and teams advanced to the bonus round only after winning 2 rounds. So that was in later on. If the family pair advanced to the bonus round, the captain decided which member would participate. From the premiere until the change in the front game format, champions retired from the show after winning 8 matches. This limit was raised to 10 matches after the change, and later to 20. Following the second increase, several previously undefeated 10-time champions were invited to compete again on the show. Now, for the bonus round, originally known as Gold Rush, and was later, and it would get a later title, but it was later changed to Gold Run after 18 weeks of being called Gold Rush. The first time was Standard Gold Rush. Then when they returned for the second time, it would be Super Gold Rush. The same board layout was used, with the left and right sides now colored gold, and the objective was to complete a path across the board connecting the gold to the gold. If they could do this within a 60-second time limit, they would win the money. Now, of course, when it was changed to Gold Run, they would compete for $5,000. Now, each hexagon now contained up to 5 letters standing for the initials in the correct response to a clue. Like, for example, former mayor of New York City, and of course the letters were EK. The correct response would be Ed Cook. The correct response turned the hexagon gold. And you can keep doing this. But a word of warning, though, if you miss or say pass, it forces the hexagon to go black. And then you must try and work your way around it. Sometimes it can get a little easy, and sometimes it can't. The bonus round, again, was originally known as the Gold Rush, as it was played after each game of the match. And, of course, they would win $2,500, and if successful, and an additional $5,000 for the second attempt, dubbed the Super Gold Rush. Now, contestants earned $100 per correct answer if they failed to make a connection. When the format changed to a best 2 out of 3 match with $500 awarded per game, Gold Rush was played only after the match was always worth $5,000. Anyway, yeah, I will tell you, this game had a lot of big winners and what have you. Give me a moment, maybe I can find some information. I'll be right back. Okay, now this game had a lot of big winners. Among some of them included Leland Young, who was formerly a contestant on Password Plus, which of course was still on NBC at the time, and Cullen took over hosting for a little while as original host, Alan Lynn was recuperating. But he was a big winner, and he won a total of $106,600 throughout his run. let's see. Let's see. Another one was Lorraine Dillman, and she was a big winner as well. She had two separate runs as champion, having won 65,000. She was the only one who retired as champion during the first format, having won 47,000 at that time. She would also later go on to appear as a contestant on the new $25,000 pyramid, as well as Sale of the Century and Russian Roulette. There were other winners as well, including Candy Doyle, Sherry Lucas, and Jean Vicious. But the biggest winner of a solo player was John Haddon, who, believe me, this guy was wow. The first time he played, he netted him the full $60,000. Whew. And then he actually managed to win it again with 120,000. Making him the biggest winner of all of the solo players. Believe me, it would make him the second biggest game show winner I'd see on an old game show next to Lieutenant Tom McKee on Tic-Tac-Doe. Now, among some of the big family pair winners, there were Joe and Tom Hendricks, who were actually the very first family pair to appear on the show, winning an overall total of 26,800. Now, one of the twins, Tom, actually appeared on Match Game and later Trivia Trap with Bob Eubanks. Let's see, and then there was Alan and Jeff Dennis, Kathy Thomas and John Shannon. Now, of course, Alan and Jeff Dennis were brothers, and Kathy Thomas and John Shannon, they were a brother and sister team. And Pat and Liz McCarthy. But however, they were the most successful family pair, winning the full $120,000. Anyway, now that was really something. Anyway, later on, after it ended, the show was brought back in 1987 as a mid-season replacement, hosted by Bill Rafferty, who was hosting the syndicated version of Card Sharks. And it was on the same network. However, it only had two solo players that go up against each other. Did the same thing, but for the first round. Then the second round, they reversed it with red connecting side to side and white connecting top to bottom. Anyway, that version's good. I just have a few slight issues, though, and what have you, with Bill always, once you pick a layer and you keep saying always a toss-up, that just kind of bothered me a little bit. I do have a little respect for it, though. Anyway, also another thing I forgot to mention about Blockbusters, when it originally came out, I always loved the intro music to this, which was done by Bob Colbert. And I like Bob Hilton's announcement. Well, little intro. This is the battlefield for our game of speed and strategy. These are the layers that lead to victory on Blockbusters! And yeah. It was changed just a tiny bit for the layer intro, which Rich Jeffries returned as the announcer for that version. And the music design group worked on the theme to that. Anyway, now you can find episodes of the show on YouTube. It has been shown on Game Show Network as well as CBN, now Freeform. Let's see. It more recently was on Buzzer, but it hasn't been back on for months. But anyway, yeah. You can find a few episodes of it on Amazon Prime through Buzzer and what have you. Not much, though, but still good. There's also international versions that have been shown in Australia, the UK, and just about any other country and what have you. Anyway, during the original run, Bill Cullen received an Emmy Award nomination for Best Game Show Host. It was his first ever, as a matter of fact. Also, in 1982, even before the show came to an end, the Milton Bradley Company published a single home game edition. The front gameplay was the same as the show, with 6 possible board configurations to play with, although the arrangement of the hexagons was upside down from what was used on the show. And the Gold Run was also played with one of these boards, using only single layer definitions rather than the multi-layer combinations frequently used on the show. So anyway, yeah, I really thought this was pretty good. Anyway, oh, and another thing about the 1987 version, Gold Run was the same as before. Anyway, however, its price was the same, but partway through its run, it became a jackpot that began at 5,000 and increased by that amount every time it was not won, and was reset to 5,000 whenever it was collected or a new champion was crowned. That's it. But anyway, Blockbusters ended. Both versions have been shown on Game Show Network, but now on Buzzer. Buzzer only showed the Cullen version, which I'm more liking to that one, and it's amazing. It is wonderful. So anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to tell you about this game. I think you ought to give Blockbusters a shot. I really wish this could get a reboot and what have you. Believe me, this is a game that I really would love to have come back. And it could have gone on for a 3rd season, but, well, soon even after Blockbusters ended, this was right before NBC had just ended this, along with Password Plus, and then soon they would get other new games to come in, like Sale of the Century, hosted by former Card Sharks host Jim Perry, and Scrabble with former Wheel of Fortune host Chuck Woolery, and of course Super Password with the late great Bert Convey. So anyway, that's about it. So what are your thoughts on Blockbusters? Tell me, have you seen this game? You can tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And next time on the Wide World of Game Shows, I'll be talking about Bullseye, another game that premiered in 1980. So I do hope you enjoy this, and if you did, check out these episodes of the Wide World Game Shows I did on a couple of other Bill Cullen hosted games. In the upper left-hand corner is the episode on Child's Play, which he did after Blockbusters ended. In the upper right-hand corner is the episode I did for Hot Potato, which he did after Child's Play came to an end. Or if you want something else, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see the previous episode of the Wide World Game Shows on Match Game. Which, of course, the Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour would take over NBC's morning block as well after Blockbusters came to an end. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the Wide World of Game Shows, then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.